The emergency beacon cut through the silence of deep space like a blade through silk. Adnan Chen Martinez adjusted the frequency on his salvage vessel's communication array, his weathered hands moving with practiced precision across the controls. 23 years of working the outer rim had taught him to recognize distress when he heard it. "Diana, you getting this?" He called to his partner, who was currently elbow-deep in the engine compartment. Diana Okafor emerged, wiping hydraulic fluid from her dark hands with a stained rag. Her engineering expertise had saved their small operation more times than either cared to count. "Clear as starlight. Sounds like kids, Adnan. Really young ones." The transmission crackled again, high-pitched voices speaking in rapid, panicked Zephyrian. Adnan's universal translator parsed the alien language slowly, but the terror was unmistakable. "Please, anyone! Our colony ship. Engines failing. We're falling toward the gravity well." Diana was already pulling up the navigation charts. "There, Kepler 442 system. That's a nasty neutron star, Adnan. If they're caught in its pull, how long do we have? At their current trajectory? 6 hours, maybe 7, before they hit the point of no return." Adnan stared at the star charts, calculating distances and fuel consumption. Their modified hauler wasn't built for rescue operations. It was a rust bucket held together by determination and Diana's mechanical genius. The smart play would be to relay the distress call to the nearest military outpost and let the professionals handle it. But those voices on the comm, they couldn't have been older than 10 if Zephyrian aging worked anything like human development. "Fire up the quantum drive," Adnan said quietly. Diana raised an eyebrow. "That's all our fuel reserves plus the emergency stash. We'll be running on fumes." "Those are kids, Diana." She was already moving toward the engine room. "Then we better make this count." The journey through hyperspace felt eternal. When they dropped back into normal space, the sight that greeted them defied belief. The Zephyrian colony ship was massive, a kilometer-long vessel designed to carry thousands, but it was tumbling helplessly, trailing plasma and debris as its engines sputtered and died. "Adnan," Diana's voice was tight with disbelief. "I'm reading over 3,000 life signs on that ship, but the distress call is coming from the auxiliary bridge. The main bridge must be compromised." "Can we dock?" "Not with that tumble rate, but there's a maintenance bay on the starboard side that might work." What followed was the most harrowing hour of Adnan's life. Using every trick Diana had taught him about zero-G maneuvering, he matched the colony ship's chaotic rotation and slipped their hauler into the maintenance bay like threading a needle in an earthquake. The inner airlock cycled, and Adnan found himself face to face with 6 small Zephyrian children. Their crystalline skin was pale with fear, their large eyes reflecting the emergency lighting like prisms. The oldest couldn't have been more than 12 human years equivalent. "We tried everything," the oldest girl whispered in broken standard. "The adults. They are trapped in the forward sections. The computer. It will not listen to us because we are too young." Adnan knelt to her level, his voice gentle. "What's your name, kiddo?" "Zara. This is my sister Keela and our friends from the colony." She gestured to the other children clustered behind her. "Can you help us? Everyone says humans are clever with machines." Diana appeared beside him, her toolkit already in hand. "Show me to your computer core, Zara, and don't worry, humans don't give up on kids, ever." The colony ship's AI had suffered cascade failures in multiple systems. Worse, the Zephyrian computer architecture was based on bioneural networks that Diana had only read about in technical journals. But as she worked, something remarkable happened. The children began to help. Zara translated technical readouts. Keela, barely 6 years old, crawled into maintenance shafts too narrow for adults, rerouting fiber optic cables under Diana's guidance. The others became a relay system, carrying tools and parts through the ship's maze-like corridors. "Your species builds interesting computers," Diana muttered, sweat beading on her forehead as she worked. "They're almost alive." "They are alive," Zara explained. "They grow from neural seeds, but they are hurt like a wounded animal. That's why they won't listen to us. We are not old enough to have authority." Adnan was monitoring their position on the auxiliary bridge when the solution hit him. "Diana, don't override the AI, heal it." "What?" "Zephyrian neural networks respond to emotional resonance, right? These kids have been trying to give orders, but what if they sang to it instead?" Diana stared at him for a moment, then began laughing. the slightly hysterical laughter of someone who's been working on adrenaline for too long. That's either brilliant or completely insane. In my experience, those are usually the same thing. Working together, they modified the communication protocols. Instead of command structures, they created harmonic interfaces. The children, following Diana's guidance, began to sing to the ship's injured AI, not commands but lullabies. Comfort songs their parents had taught them. The response was immediate. Systems that had been dark for hours began flickering to life. The ship's tumble slowed, then stopped entirely. Main power restored itself section by section, but they were still falling toward the neutron star.
"Engines are responding," Diana reported, "but they're only at 30% capacity."
Not enough to break free of the gravity well. Adnan looked at their own ship, docked in the maintenance bay. Their quantum drive was small, designed for a vessel a fraction of the colony ship's mass. But sometimes physics could be negotiated with. What if we don't try to pull the whole ship out at once, he mused. What if we change its trajectory just enough to use the star's gravity as a slingshot? Diana's eyes widened. A gravity assist maneuver, using a neutron star, that's never been attempted. First time for everything. The next 2 hours tested every limit of human ingenuity and Zephyrian courage. Diana jury-rigged a connection between their quantum drive and the colony ship's navigation system. Adnan calculated approach vectors that existed in the razor-thin margin between escape and annihilation. And the children? The children sang to keep the AI calm, as they dove deeper into the star's crushing embrace than any ship that size had ever survived. At the critical moment when the neutron star's gravity had accelerated them to a significant fraction of light speed, both drives fired in perfect synchronization. The colony ship whipped around the stellar remnant like a stone from a sling, breaking free of the gravity well and shooting toward safe space. Hours later, as rescue ships from the Zephyrian fleet arrived to escort the colony ship to its destination, Zara found Adnan in the maintenance bay, checking their own ship's systems. "Why did you help us?" she asked. "Your species and ours, we have no formal alliance, no trade agreements. You could have died." Adnan paused in his work, considering the question. Finally, he knelt down to her level again, the same way he had hours earlier when everything seemed hopeless. "Because you asked," he said simply. "And because that's what humans do. We help." Zara tilted her head, her crystalline features reflecting his weathered face. "Is that why other species say humans are dangerous? Because you never give up?" Adnan smiled, thinking of Diana's impossible engineering solutions, of 6 small aliens who had refused to panic in the face of death, of a salvage crew that had just pulled off the most audacious rescue in recorded history. "Maybe," he said. "But I like to think it's because we never give up on each other." As their small hauler detached from the colony ship and turned toward home, Diana joined him at the observation deck. They watched the massive Zephyrian vessel disappear into hyperspace, carrying 3,000 souls, including 6 very brave little girls, to their new world. "Think they'll remember us?" Diana asked. Adnan smiled, remembering the sound of children singing to heal a wounded AI. The sight of Zara's determined face as she translated impossible technical specifications, the moment when 30% engine power and human stubbornness had conquered a neutron star. "I think," he said, "they're going to tell stories about humans for a very long time." And in the depths of space, where the cold and dark made insignificant specks of even the mightiest ships, that seemed like the most human victory of all.